folks. Just soaking up a nice warm and sunny day here in mid-September that feels more like summer than summer did. A little bit of a breeze here, so hopefully it doesn't get in the way of being able to hear me here. So this video is a follow-up to another video that I did recently titled "Is Separation an Illusion?" And sort of the basic idea that I was getting across is that the concept of, is separation an illusion, that, that is open to debate as to whether it is an illusion or real, whatever either of those terms mean. But regardless, resolving that illusion is not necessarily an easy task. And I gave the example of getting to the moon, and the fact that depending on which dimension you're talking about, it is either relatively easy or exceedingly difficult. And so in the astral realm, you can travel at will, basically, and you could pretty easily just go to the moon and check it out, just with the power of your thoughts directing yourself, your spirit, your energy body to go there. Getting to the moon on the physical realm is, of course, another matter entirely that is much, much more complicated and requires, extreme precision in the realms of physics and mathematics and astronomy and all this and energy. All this stuff that you can't just be in a vague understanding of. You have to be extremely precise and have exact perfect understanding in order to build a spaceship and get it off the planet and get it to the moon and then be able to walk around there. And so the point that I'm seeking to convey with this is that even if separation is an illusion, that doesn't mean that resolving it is an easy matter. And I came up with, after I'd recorded that video, I was thinking about it a little bit more and came up with another example to illustrate this. So 5 or 6 months ago, then I did a video on Plato's allegory of the cave, which got a grand total of 15 or 20 hits in the past 5 months. So I figure it's worth revisiting and see if I can get the idea out there a little bit better this time. Just something for people to think about in the along the spiritual quest and trying to make sense of things and figure out how to actually tackle this stuff in a way that actually makes a real difference and that really leads to that freedom of being which we all seek. So Plato's allegory of the cave, Plato was a Greek philosopher in like 400 to 500 BC, and so he came up with this analogy for life. And the analogy is, imagine a group of people, just 3 or 4 people, who have spent their entire lives trapped in a cave, in a completely dark cave, cut off from the outside world. There's a fire in this cave, like a campfire, sitting in the middle of the floor of this cave, and these 3 or 4 people are tied to posts that are embedded in the ground in this cave. They've been tied their entire lives, like with their arms behind their backs, strapped around this post, and they are witnessing these shadows, the flickering lights and the shadows from the fire that is behind them, flickering on the cave wall. And that has been their entire existence. That's all that they've ever known. And now imagine if one of these people managed to escape, untie them, figure out their predicament, untie themselves, and find the pathway out of there, and then, you know, stumble out into the real world and discover, you know, this, and how just totally mind blown they would be of, oh my God, this whole time I've been thinking that the world as it was just, you know, this flickering of light and shadow on a cave wall. And then another thing is to imagine they're actually turning to see the fire, that which is the source, you know, when they were in the cave, that which was the source of those flickering lights and everything, and then beyond that to get out to the outside world. And so imagine if they finally made it out to this world, and then they're thinking of their friends, you know, trapped back in that cave, and you know, out of the, you know, goodness of their heart, and they would want to go back and untie them and, you know, explain to them, you know, you're not experiencing real reality. You're experiencing this extremely limited experience of reality, and there's such a beautiful world out here to experience. If he went back to the people in that cave, how do you suppose they would react? Would they be like, oh, okay, cool, that sounds great? No, they would be like, what the hell are you talking about? That is impossible. All, you know, these flickering lights and shadows is all I've ever experienced. I can't even conceive of what you're talking about. That's impossible. That could not possibly exist. And so this is an analogy for life, in saying that in fact this world that we see around us is like being trapped in that cave, seeing the flickering lights on the cave wall, and in fact the real world beyond what we are experiencing now is much, much more magnificent than this. And as we well know, these spiritual teachers that seek to convey to us that there is another world beyond this world that is much more magnificent than this are often treated with scorn and ridicule and crucifixion, etc., because this is the world that we see and experience and all that we've ever known, and we can't imagine that there is something beyond this. Now, we know for a fact now with modern science that this is actually the case, that this is real, that there is much beyond this physical realm that we do not see with our human senses. We have our five senses of sight and touch and smell and feel and sound. Just because we have those senses does not mean that there's nothing, you know, within the expressions or, you know, the reality of reality that is beyond those senses. And, you know, now with modern technology, we know that there is all this stuff beyond our beyond our sight and our other senses. You know, ultraviolet, infrared, radio waves, and you know, all this energy that is flowing all around us right now, but which we do not see. So, sort of getting back to the title of this video, is separation an illusion? Waking up to that idea that separation is an illusion, that we are, you know, stuck in our egoic, individual, human perception of reality, and that this is not actually the way that it is. This is simply the way that we experience reality because of being, you know, trapped in a human body and navigating our way through the third dimensional realm. Just because we experience that reality does not mean that that is all that there is. And so waking up to this concept that we are all in fact one, that we are all energy, expressions of energy, as are the trees and the rocks and the planet itself and the sun and you know, all of the universe. Waking up to that is kind of like waking up to this analogy that Plato offered of being tied to a post in a cave with the flickering, flames behind us casting shadows on the cave wall. Waking up to that reality does not resolve that reality of experiencing that limited, separated state. And so that's, took me a little while to get there, but that's kind of the ultimate point that I'm getting to in both of these videos, is that these nice sounding sayings, such as "we are all one" and separation is an illusion and all is love, these all sound great, but coming to that realization within your mind does not resolve the situation. Okay, so you're stuck in a cave, tied to a post, in the darkness of a cave, other than this campfire. Now you have to untie yourself and figure out how to get out of this cave. Maybe it's even blocked up with rocks, and just untying yourself from this post is something that you have no experience with. Not to mention walking. You don't even know how to walk. You've just been tied to this post your entire life. And then seeing the source of this light, of the shadows that you've been, the flickering light and shadows you've been seeing on the cave wall for your entire existence, just seeing this campfire is just going to blow your mind. You might go into shock right there and just die of a heart attack. So suddenly you have to open up to this completely different perception of reality and figure out how to navigate in this other world, and then get yourself out of this cave, and then come into the brilliance of the real world, as we know it here, and try to make sense of it. So this is really a great analogy for the spiritual path, and one that many of us are dealing with, is having these experiences that keep blowing our reality wide open and bringing us into a state of being that keeps making it sort of more and more confusing and difficult to navigate this third dimensional realm, while we are juggling these expanded perceptions of reality and inner experiences, and trying to balance these other realms of consciousness that we're accessing and bringing into ourselves, and seeking to integrate. Waking up to this concept that we are all one and that we all come from the same source and everything, that's like the first step. That's like the okay, now I know how stuck I am, and that I'm not actually experiencing that oneness. I've been introduced to the concept, but still here I am, stuck, feeling separated, and as if life isn't as meaningful as it could be. And so now you have to take the steps to get yourself out of that situation of separation and feeling disconnected from the universe and from the source of life, and get your way, to the real world, as it were. And how to do that? Fortunately, there are many tools available to us, being offered by many different spiritual teachers and books and teachings from the past several thousand years of yoga and meditation and Tai Chi and Qigong and Reiki and massage and teachings about accessing the astral plane and on and on. And there are those who say, enlightenment is a state of simply being here, and there's no struggle, and that to strive, to desire, to struggle to come to a place of enlightenment is in opposition to that state of enlightenment, and so you shouldn't be on a path of struggling and desiring and trying to get somewhere, because the purpose is to simply be here in total acceptance of the present moment. And I would actually completely disagree with this, because we do need to alter our state of being in order to experience that reality, the real reality that we may be seeking. Simply coming to that realization, it's all, this experience of separation is an illusion, we're all one, all is love, that doesn't do the trick. That doesn't get you there. You have to embark on a profound quest of seeking to understand yourself and the world, and to, make sense of reality and feel your way around this cave, and maybe put your hand in the fire in order to discover, holy shit, that's hot and that hurts, and in order to get to know the real reality, and thus perhaps ultimately come to that place of being in complete sublime oneness with the moment, and needing nor desiring nothing further in existence. But getting to that place is a journey and a path and a quest that has to be embarked on, and it requires a transformation of yourself, your state of being, in order to truly come into that place of experiencing that oneness and that lack of separation and that connection to all that is, as opposed to simply being a concept in your mind that you've mentally realized. And I've expressed this in previous videos before, but just to conclude, to understand that mind does not equal consciousness. Mind is one element of consciousness, but consciousness encompasses more than just the mind. That there is more to us than just our thoughts. There is our emotions. There is our feelings. There is our physical body. And these are all aspects of our consciousness. And so this is why just that mental thought doesn't do the trick, because that's only realizing that within one part of yourself. But that experience of taking away the veil, the separation, in order to experience that oneness, has to be realized within all aspects of your being. And that's where it gets tricky, is figuring out how to access these other parts of your being, and strip away that which is creating the separation, and then balance those other parts of ourselves so that we're working in unison with all parts of our being and accessing all parts of our being. And that's where it gets to the analogy of having to build a spaceship in order to get to the moon, is that figuring out how to access those other parts of ourselves, and get it all to work together in a way of synthesis and unity of a singular goal, is not an easy task. So that's kind of the ultimate point I was seeking to get to here in my assorted rambling. So that's all. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day. Take care.